Christmas has come early for wargaming because the shop offers this week, well, there's something special. Now let's see what is worth it, what isn't worth it. Let's have a look. Let's start off with the tank section and the dangerous tandem. One of them is dangerous, the other one's the tandem. Now the MX-M49 is still somewhat of a dangerous tier 8 heavy tank. It does also make very good creds. 232mm of penetration especially, just make it somewhat noob friendly as well, because there's a lot of tanks you can just outright pen easily. Premium penetration doesn't really have much of an upgrade. However, good standard penetration is important for a premium tank, because the less premium ammo you have to fire, the more creds you're going to make. Accuracy, 0.33, well, there was better, 10 degrees of gun depression, and decent enough mobility at 16 power-to-weight ratio, somewhat similar to the T-54E2, which is a better vehicle, obviously. Now, the MX-M4's advantage always was that it was a good enough vehicle, sold quite cheaply. 5,000 gold, to be specifically, quite a couple of years ago on a Black Friday. That's the lowest this ever went, and now it's 7,500 gold, which is, no? So yeah, the only dangerous thing about this bundle is how overpriced it is. Now we have the Locust, and it's a meme. Like, this vehicle was built to be dropped from airplanes, so drop it from your eyesight and move on. Or if you simply want it for the bundle, and I mean 350 for gold boosters, credit boosters, stuff like that, 7 days of premium, that's not really that bad of a deal if you also can sell this vehicle for 1,000 gold. So while the tank itself is worth about nothing, the bundle is pretty good. I can recommend it. And next, Christmas has come early. For me, because I can make fun of this outrageously terrible bundle. 10,000 gold for the Snowstorm Jagdtiger 8.8. Now, this was originally a special vehicle back from 2015, and it was supposed to only be then, but Wargaming doesn't care about exclusivity as long as it makes money, which is also why the E25 #1 camouflage was sold again multiple times. This is a Jagdtiger. There's nothing special about it. The only thing that is special about it is that you can't change the camo that's applied to it. The Jagdtiger 88, however, is a excellent tier 8 tank destroyer, 3,500 DPM, 235mm standard penetration, 350 alpha damage, 0.26 accuracy. That is a insanely good value, and 7 degrees of gun depression. Not really that great top speed, but then again, it is based on a Tiger 2, so that engine is not having fun. But here's the thing. Normally, the Jagdtiger, the regular one, is sold in a bundle for 5,500 gold with 30 days of premium, 500,000 creds, all that kind of stuff. Now, this thing costs 10,000, doesn't include any premium time, instead includes pointless containers that want to make you gamble more, and at least 1,000,000 credits, and a shoe sock thing, and 25 times 5s that are locked to the vehicle, which makes them sort of pointless because you have to spend more gold to convert the Elite XP into free XP, so this is a joke. Wait for the regular Jagdtiger to be back. Sure, it's a special edition, but it's worth exactly nada. And then we have the Iron Companions, and there's not a lot of iron on this vehicle because they don't really have any armor, so I only really recommend this to a good player. It can be a fun little challenge to an already well-playing player, but 2.5k DPM, 350 alpha damage, 10 degrees of gun depression, it does work, but it is then again a M4 Sherman upgrade by the Israelis with a French gun, which makes it French. So yeah, it has no armor, but it has an excellent gun, so if you're already a very good player looking for a collector's item that you can also grind credits with, this can be quite a decent choice. Unfortunately, the times 5s are still locked to the vehicle. And then the resources repeat after me. If it includes credits, it is a terrible value. So don't buy the ones that include credits, because it's quite easy and quick to make 5 million credits. Really, it's a couple hours, and it's not worth any of that level ever. And then we have these other things here that you can buy with gold, and the only massive breakthrough I'm going to have is I'm going to ram my head through a brick wall at the levels of pricing. Anyway, 3.7k gold for all this level of booster is not really that bad, so if you need 30 days of premium time and all the boosters, it can be a decent offer, and I can recommend it in that case. I'm still going to ram my head through a brick wall because I'm stupid. And stupid is what you have to be when you're seriously considering to buy lockboxes. Now, these lockboxes specifically are for the Object 777, that reverse copy of the 113. Basically, if you have played the 113, you're not missing anything from this worse version of the 113. That is the Object 777. Basically, it's lockboxes, and they're terrible. And I do want to ram my head through a brick wall, knowing how many people will still buy the lockbox keys anyway. However, nonetheless, small containers, all of these free ones, they're definitely worth opening. So check if you haven't, and write a comment if you forgot it. And then again, mystery boxes, British containers, it's just terrible. And now we get to the main show of this week's shop review, and that is the 60,000 gold Charioteer, because, I mean, obviously we need 6 times 5, which is 60,000 gold to get the charms. It's very, very cheap, right? 60k gold for a mediocre tier 8 tank, but more on that later. The only thing I have to show you right now is this comparison to the regular Charioteer. Now, it is worse at pretty much everything except for the armor, but the armor's not good enough to not be pinned anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. So, more on that later. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as I wipe the blood from my skull out of my eyes from ramming my head into a wall 17 times, I now see more gambling. And that is the Concept 1B, a vehicle that is fairly good for what it does. Then again, you can also get yourself a T125 and get the same effect. It's, again, in a draw, and as we already learned about 2 seconds ago about gambling, is that it is terrible. Now, I'm not going to do the exact math this time of how much this costs, but it's probably going to be 25 to 30,000 gold again, which doesn't make a vehicle worth it, essentially, because you'll get trash around it. Like, do you want the snowman? I mean, it looks cool, but it's like an NFT. It's worth nothing. So basically, the Concept 1B is a very good vehicle, but you can get the T125, and unless they sell it properly in the shop, stay the hell away from these draws, because the more people play the draws, the more you buy the draws, the more Wargaming is going to milk them, and eventually the shop is going to disappear entirely, and every single vehicle will now only be sold in gambling boxes. That's the future we're heading towards, probably. Because if you haven't huffed enough copium yet, then here is more. We have gambling for gambling. Again, this already happened before, and it is happening again, which does clearly indicate that it is very profitable. Now, here's the thing. The first 1 or 2 of the draw tends to sort of work out okay. I mean, 100 gold for one of those worthless boxes. It's not really that terrible, but eventually you start going higher, and you start losing value about here. So gambling to gamble, what world are we living in? In other news, the Battle Pass is not terrible. I mean, the Battle Pass, if you play enough to fill it up all the way to level 60, is a great investment to have. So if you do play actively enough, I do recommend picking up the Premium Battle Pass. It's worth it with the vaults and all that. But again, you're also paying with your playtime. So only buy the Battle Pass if you're active and you can get to level 60 each time. Then you also have this subscription for the IS-2 Shielded, which I don't even care enough about to log into the game. But it is a free tank, so if you do want it, make sure to log in for all 15 days to get the free vehicle. And there is also a mission for Cocainum, and that would be a much better name for this thing, but unfortunately that's not the name. But anyway, earn your Cocainum, play your battles, have fun.
Cocainum.
If you log into the game now, you can also get the Frosty, a tier 6 copy that is slightly better of the Chaffee. Now you can get it for free, and it sells for 500 gold. If that is what you rather have, then take that. Here we go with the Titan Charioteer. Now, obviously, it's a Charioteer that has a little bit more armor, and with a little bit, I mean quite a lot. I mean, you can't HE the turret of this vehicle, but the rest of it is simply worse than the regular Charioteer. So, essentially, it's a vehicle that's nowhere near worth buying, because even though it does have third armor, it's nowhere thick enough to actually stop any sort of shells, because it's about 200 millimeters, and a lot of tier 8s have 200 millimeters of penetration. So, Yeah, you can stop HE around, but that's about all you can. Which is not really that great, because normally you would need a significant armor advantage in a vehicle like this, given that it's worse at everything else, to make it worth it. But in this case, we have another HWK-30, where you might as well just play the regular Tectra vehicle and not even buy the premium. And then we sell that premium tank for 60,000 gold in crates. Well, that's just lovely, isn't it? Now, yeah, there's nothing else to say about this vehicle. This is one to forget, one to completely and utterly ignore. Just like my team here has ignored that they should try to win the battle, and it's now a 1v7 after 2 minutes. But welcome to this game. So essentially, we have a huge, huge disappointment here. Not necessarily because of the vehicle itself, but because the regular Charioteer is perfectly fine and does work if you're a good enough player. And then why would you spend 60,000 gold on a cheap copy of it? I mean, if it's, let's say, in the shop for 6,000 gold and you're a real big fan of the regular Charioteer and you want one with armor, then it might be a worthwhile pickup in about 2 years when it's sold for a reasonable price, if ever. But again, this is the new pricing strategy. There is no good price. There is only terrible prices. And for a mediocre vehicle like this, there was just no saving and not a single good word lost on this disappointment. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.